Welcome back to another episode of Untouched Nations. Now, last time round we looked at the Democratic Republic of Congo. This time round we're not going to look at Ecuador because I wanted to do full nations, and Ecuador doesn't have a full nation of players. For example, you can't have a goalkeeper. I could hybrid it up with something like Egypt, have Salah of Chelsea with Aquadel Mohamedi and Antonio Valencia. But for now, we want to go into full nation. So today, as you can see on the screen here, probably in the top right hand corner, you'll see that we are focusing on Finland. Now, there's going to be a couple of players here that I can't pronounce their names. It's obviously going to be some easy ones here, like Jussi Jääskeläinen, that I won't have any issues with at all. But I won't be mentioning every single player by name just because it's pointless, because I just make a fool of myself. So, as you'll see here, we've got two left backs in the squad. At the time, I don't think there is anyway, but at the time there wasn't any right backs available on the market. So we had to focus on two left backs. As you see as well, one of them was bronze, but who knows if that's going to hinder. They've both got reasonable enough pace. The main problem about the entire back line here, as you see here, Sparva, possibly. I can't pronounce the name, as I said. I probably shouldn't have even tried that one. As you see there, they're all really slow, which is a bit of an issue when you come up against the Bamiyang, or you come up against just any sort of usual FIFA team that's just absolutely pestered with pace. I don't really like moaning about pace. And to be honest, I can cope quite well without pace, but there is always the problem. And you know, if someone's running straight at you, it's a bit of an issue. The 2 centimeters here, make sure we don't put in Borcas of Costa Rica. The 2 centimeters here aren't too bad. Complete opposites. The goal player there, for example, looks pretty decent. The silver player looks all right. But again, the pace is just something that's going to be a bit of an issue. In the cam position, I believe we've got Euramenko. I think his name is. We'll just confirm that now. Euramenko. I'm going to go with that anyway. Again, make sure I don't put in the bloody Costa Ricans. Obviously, I'm keeping all my players from the other series as well. He looks really good. I'm not going to lie, his stats here are all very impressive. And I look forward to start using them now in the 2 striking positions. We've got 2 players that I think look really decent. You've got Pukki of Celtic, reasonable pace, I believe it was 82. And Riski here of 78 pace. Again, both of them look all right as silver players, non-rare silver players up front. The main problem for me is there's no just absolute pace, so if I get desperate, I can't just pace all. But overall, I can't really moan with the balance of the squad. And let's get into the action and just see how I do. As we go into the games here now, as you'll see, we come up against some pretty nice opponents throughout the couple of games I played. Some of the teams come up against was pretty frightening. I mean, here you got a nice little Brazilian squad. But we're going to do as we did before, just sort of glide through the team, telling you about each sort of position and player and how I felt they played, and then obviously focusing on the game whenever something in the game actually happens itself. So we'll start off with the defence, and now originally I said the defence was pretty slow as we get ourselves a lucky first goal here, and it was one of the slowest defences I've used. But that is not necessarily to say it was a poor defence. Now, the defence obviously starts with your goalkeeper in Jussi Jääskeläinen, who I could not moan about at all. I think I conceded a few goals, but some of them it's just the game really doing me over. I mean, some of the goals I conceded are just borderline criminal. I don't want to use certain words, but I was a bit gutted with the goals I conceded. Now into the left and right back, reasonable pace on both of them. None of them really stood out too much. But at the same time, they didn't stand out defensively, as in they didn't cost me any sort of major errors. The 2 centre backs, again, both of them slow. But once again here, as you just see, look at that, man. I mean, what can I do about that goal? Just the game absolutely screwed me over there. But anyway, back to the 2 centre backs. Slow, as I said, but solid at the same time. Very good in the air. I mean, this entire team was one of the better teams I've had in the air. I don't just mean from crosses, as this guy makes an absolute mess up of that. Gives it to Riski. Riski knocks it into the bottom corner. And 70 minutes in, we've got ourselves a rage quit. So, can't moan with that first game. You'll see here when I get the possession stats up, okay, it was only 70 minutes of the game. But 90% passing with this team, a team I'd never used, a team I was actually slightly worried about using, was brilliant. So as I was saying, the defensive side were absolutely solid. The heading on this team was one of the best I've ever used. As we go into the second game here, against the League BBVA, whatever the hell it's called, a Spanish league team. And again, as I said previously, the teams I've come up against here are actually really impressive. But, I mean, look at that as well for another goal. That was the second goal I conceded, and both of them I'm just thinking, oh my lord. And this was one of them games I thought I'm either going to get absolutely battered, or I'm going to have to do something special to bring it back. But we'll start focusing on to the midfield. The midfield itself, again, all 4 of them were pretty decent. The DM was probably the slowest player I've ever used. But saying that, he wasn't a bad player at all. Euramenko there, as you see him hit the post as we get a goal, which is offside, was absolute standout. The two centre mids themselves were honestly top quality. Like passing wise was brilliant. This was not a team you could just hoof the ball or pace the ball up um, and expect something to happen. As you see here, we just can't get that goal. But thankfully from the corner, Victor Valdez makes an absolute howler of that header. I head that ball straight at him. And he just powers it up, and we get ourselves one of the luckiest goals we've ever seen. I said you can't just power the ball up the pitch. I thought I'd try it. Great ball into Riski, but even then you're not clean through. Yeremenko or Eremenko, whatever his name is, gives it to Pukki, back across to him, and that's a great play that is to get ourselves in the lead 2-1 late in the game. And I was confident because I could actually defend with this team. As you see there, what a cutscene that is as well. We get ourselves a nice 2-1 win, and we come out of that with them stats. I wasn't that dominant there. Reasonable passing in 82%, but this team was one of the best teams I've played on this game. Absolute pace everywhere, which worried me to hell, as my team was just incredibly slow. On to the two strikers themselves. This game will show you everything you need to see about my two strikers. I think I had Pukki and Riski, probably not what they're called, but what we're going with. And both of them are brilliant for non-rare silver players. They're one of the... It's honestly one of the best strike forces I've actually used. I think none of them are outstanding in pace, but they just work. I mean, what a ball that is from Pukki into Riski, I believe it is. And it was just absolutely epic the way I could play with this. Now I get a bit lucky here. One time round, I don't actually screw myself over. Very lucky with it. But I mean, this overall team was brilliant. The ability to pass in this team, I think I come out of this game with 90% passing. I hit the bar or the post 4 times. But this here was the one downside to it. As you see, that it's awful defending. There's no two ways about that. But for Sami Nasri to just walk past my entire team that easy was frightening. And this was one of them games where I played so well, and it just felt like I was never ever getting that goal. Everything I did, I thought, this should be a goal, this should be a goal. And what a ball that is, what a run that is as well from Riski. And it's a decent enough finish to get us in the lead. And it was one of them games I just couldn't kill off straight away, just before half time. This has to be 3-1. I probably should have just kept on running with it, but you know how overpowered lobs are in this game, and that was an absolute howler. Into the second half, and it's just more of the same again. I just couldn't put this game to bed. What that guy does there with that acrobatic clearance, I will never know. And again, off the post, and it was one of them games, as I've probably said about 28 times now, it was just so frustrating. Just couldn't get that goal every single time, and again here, just wide. But to conclude about the whole team altogether, it was actually brilliant. Now, there was absolutely no pace to it, and I was really worried. I thought it was be awful. But the passing in this team is incredible. As we hit the post again, there was no excuse to have this team here. Again, as we hit the bar, there's no excuse not to have a high 80s, 90% passing in with this sort of team, with any sort of team really. And even with the lack of pace, it just shows you that if you work the ball around well enough, you can kill off teams. And we finally get that third goal, and we get ourselves a second rage quit of the 3 games with Finland. Now, I've really enjoyed this team. I know I've said that often because, well, I've enjoyed every single team. 87% passing. I had that absolute domination, 63%. As we look at the 5 out of 5 to win this league, I think we're only in League 8 or 7, so it's nothing greatly impressive, don't get me wrong. But that is the overall record, 13-2-0, 85% pass accuracy with all the teams we tried out, 59% possession. That would be higher, but that one prick that just decided he was going to keep the ball. 3.4 goals average a game. It's going to get harder throughout the divisions, but I think I've got some better teams to come up against. I'm not too sure yet which team we're going to come up with. It's probably going to be Guinea or something like that. Ghana, Guinea, something unknown, preferably. Probably not Ghana because they're too well known. But as always, thanks for watching. If you've got any suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. And as always, I will catch you all next time.